absolutely walked into a birth room before, dropped everything and run over to mom. I didn't push anybody out of the way, don't worry. I came in where people felt desperate and scared, and they didn't know what to do to help get through this. And I showed them. Hey y'all, it's Jamie. Today I want to answer a very basic but common question. What do doulas do? What is a doula? And is a doula the same thing as a midwife? If you want to get more of your birthy questions answered, go ahead and hit subscribe for me. That way you can get updates every time I upload a video. What is a doula? As a doula, my job is to help you birth with confidence. During the childbearing year, I am going to provide you with informational, educational, emotional, and physical support so that you can have a birth that you dream of. Like, I know a lot of people think like, oh, birth experience, like you're lucky if you get to have a birth experience you're happy with, but it's really got nothing to do with luck. What it has to do with is support and feeling confident in your decisions and your choices. So my job is not to do anything medical. I don't have a medical job. So that's how we're different from midwives. Midwives, while they offer amazing support, midwives have to be very focused on the clinical side of things, monitoring the baby, monitoring mom, doing more medical-like work. As a doula, I become your best friend during pregnancy. You can text me any time of the day and night with any questions that you have. We set up appointments where we hang out and we talk about your goals and we talk about what you're looking for out of birth, and we talk about your questions. No question is stupid. No question is stupid. We explore all of your options. We explore all of your questions about those options. I teach your partner about how they can comfort you and support you during labor. So a lot of dads kind of struggle with the concept of a doula. Sometimes they're kind of like, why do we need another person in the room? That's not keeping it private. My mom wanted to be there and I told her no, so why are we hiring a stranger? Here's the deal. You're going to have a lot of strangers at your birth. Your doctor is probably a stranger, and if not, I mean, you only know them in a professional capacity. You have no idea who your nurses are going to be. Probably strangers. Any other medical staff, administration, registration, strangers. Even if you have a home birth, I mean, you're probably a lot closer to your midwife, but you're hiring a professional to come into your space. And it's the same with a doula. You're not just hiring somebody off the street to like waltz in one day and do something wooey at your birth. Like, you're building a professional relationship with somebody who is trained to support you through this experience. So I think that's one of the really big misconceptions that are really I think that's one of the really big things that's hard for people to grasp is like, why are we hiring this stranger to come into our birth space? It's another professional and it's another person who is trained to support you through this, to have a healthy mom and a healthy baby. We know a doula is not a midwife, and we know that doulas provide support, but what does that support look like? How is a doula providing support any different than a sister or a husband or a mother providing support? That's a pretty good question. In short, my goal is 100% to be in mom's corner. And I'm not saying that that's not true for all of those other support people, but my specialty is birth. I have trained and educated myself on ways to support women through birth. I have seen many births where I have seen different situations arise and how we can handle some of those. For instance, if there's contractions just coming on top of each other and it just seems like you're getting no break in between, what are some ways that you can support mom through that? Are you prepared for that? Are you equipped to know what is normal and what is not normal? A lot of times, people who haven't seen birth regularly kind of panic in the heat of the moment when things start to get intense, especially around transition. It can be scary if you're not used to birth and you're not used to these sights and sounds and you don't know this is normal. I'm also there to just, help you walk through making decisions. I'm not there to make decisions for you. I'm not there to tell you that you're not allowed to have an epidural. I'm not there to tell you that you should have a C-section. I'm not there to tell you that you need to do anything. I'm there to say, hey, this was your goal. And remember, we talked about this and we prepared for this. Or do you have any questions about this? This is a little different than what we talked about. Are you still wanting to go this way, or are you ready to kind of switch it up? Okay. A lot of times in labor, you have this list of goals. Let's use not getting an epidural because that's just kind of one that people go to all the time. You have a goal not to get an epidural. And you're in labor and the shit's hitting the fan and you're like, I need an epidural right now. Guess what? Almost every person I know who didn't want an epidural and every person I know who didn't get an epidural at some point said the words, I think I want the epidural now. Everybody hits that point in labor. So what I'm trained to do is kind of help you through that. I can help you work through that. You can say, okay, so we talked about, hitting this point in labor where you might feel like you're done and how that probably means you're really close to meeting your baby. Can you get through 3 more contractions? Okay, let's do that. Before we make that decision, would you like to try something different to help your comfort? There's so many ways to approach when you get to the point where you might want to change course. And then, of course, doulas do physical support, and this is probably the thing that everybody asks. If you aren't delivering a baby, what kind of physical support do you provide? Physical support is stuff like massage, acupressure, hip squeezes, counter pressure, position changes. I work so physically hard during a lot of the labors that I attend. And one of the interesting things about that is a lot of dads will say, well, I want to be the one supporting her. I want to feel like I'm doing something. I don't want you doing that. I don't want to take your place, Dad. My goal is not to replace you. My goal is to help you support your wife the best way you can. So what does that look like? That means I'll be doing counter pressure or hip squeezes, and I'll get her through a couple contractions and I'll see what's working well for her, and I'll say, okay, so do you see how I do this? This is really working for her. This is something we do a lot, blah, 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 blah. Maybe push here or touch here. And I'll step back. I'll kind of watch how things go. Hey, while you guys get some alone time, would you like me to go get you some coffee? I'm gonna head out and grab some water. Would you like a snack? I have a goal of creating a space that supports a beautiful birth that has a deep connection between mom and dad. I'm never, ever, ever walking in with the goal of taking over. I am not going to argue with your doctor. I am not going to argue with your midwife. A lot of people seem to think, oh, if I have a doula, she'll stand up for me. I will never stand up for you. What I will do is help you find your voice so you can stand up for yourself. For example, if you don't want an epidural and the provider is saying, an epidural would really help right now. You should get one. I might say something like, hey, I remember we talked about how much you really want to do this without an epidural. And I know you're feeling really pressured right now. Do you have any questions for the doctor about the benefits of an epidural? And do you have any questions about the risk? A conversation like that shifts the power back to my client. It shifts the power back to the mother. And it gives her a chance to say, well, I really don't want this epidural. And this is why I don't want it. Please stop asking. Now, in another maybe more emergent kind of situation where, let's use an episiotomy for example. I see a doctor might be getting ready to go cut an episiotomy without saying anything to the mother who's working so hard to push through contractions. So I might say to my client, hey, just so you know, the doctor's about to cut an episiotomy. Do you have any questions about that before that happens? That way I can put that power back in mom's hands. And if she says, no, just get that baby out of me. Okay. Or if she says, yeah, why are we doing that? No, I don't want that. The power is back in her hands. My goal is never to undermine your provider. I want to make that very clear. My goal is never, ever, ever to undermine or go against your provider. In fact, I've worked really well with a lot of the midwives and OBs that I have worked with. There have been times where they might not be so excited to have a doula on the support team, but my clients have all left their experiences feeling like they had support, feeling like they had someone to help them through. My job, 95% of the time, is going to be getting you ice, getting you water, maybe rubbing your back, getting you washcloths, and helping you with position changes, helping you find positions that help your baby move down, help your labor progress, but help you cope. In doing this, I'm always going to be bringing in your partner or bringing in whatever support person you have there to get them hands-on. I'm not going to walk in and take over and push anybody out of the way and I'm here, let me do this thing. I'm going to come in and I'm going to be like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. Now don't get me wrong. I have absolutely walked into a birth room before, dropped everything and run over to mom. I didn't push anybody out of the way, don't worry. I came in where people felt desperate and scared and they didn't know what to do to help get through this. And I showed them. I showed them exactly how they can help. I showed them exactly how to support. Because here's the thing, nurses are amazing. Labor and delivery nurses are rock stars. Midwives are amazing, but they all have a job to do. And unfortunately, they do not have enough time to stand around doing hip squeezes for 20 hours. Unfortunately, they do not have the time to be showing partners different techniques and helping navigate every little moment when things start to get hard. They just don't have the time because they have other things they have to do. And that's what a doula does. A doula just fills that gap. A doula makes sure you're not alone. A doula helps ease your fears. A doula is your best friend through birth. I still have clients whose contracts are over, who text me all the time, hey, how are you? Just casual conversation, or questions about their baby, and is this normal, is that normal, and just general bonding with motherhood, like, hey, this is really hard right now, I just need some encouragement. Hiring a doula is not about replacing a midwife, it's not about replacing a doctor, and it's not about replacing a partner or a sister. It's about building a team and cultivating a supportive environment. My goal is for you to birth with confidence. That's it. I have a lot of opinions on birth, and there's times that people ask my opinions, and I will give them information. And if they really push for my personal opinion, I'll share how I feel about certain things. But I will never, ever make you feel bad for the decision you make. I've had clients who wanted a natural, unmedicated, low intervention delivery end up with this and that and this and that and this and that happening. And at no point did these clients say, Jamie, you made me feel really bad for making that decision. No, on the contrary, they said, Jamie, thank you for supporting me even though the birth plan went out the window. Thank you for pulling me through that even though everything went way different than we expected. And that's what a doula does. A doula just helps keep you on track. And if you have to detour, she's just a road guide to help you navigate your way along that detour. That's it. If you have any more questions about what I can do for you as a doula, go ahead and ask them in the comments. If you're interested in birth plan coaching or doula support, feel free to reach out to me. Visit my website at www.littlebearlactation.com. It's linked in the comments. And reach out. I can't wait to meet you. Bye.